I started as a gym owner. I started as an athlete that was better in the weight room than I was on the field. Hey, let's start training people and kind of fire up a gym, if you will, really a training business that eventually became a gym. I was growing things in my training business and some of the folks that were running the mastermind. And so that was my first marketing client, was one of the guys that was running that mastermind at the time. A few years later, I was basically running that mastermind group and doing a lot of business coaching. I was more of a coach consultant than I was a marketing guy. So what is the story behind Gym Member Machine? That is a loaded as all get out question. So I started as a gym owner. I shouldn't say I started as a gym owner. You can go back all the way if we want to go in the way back machine. I started as an athlete that was sort of better in the weight room than I was on the field, I guess, once I got to college and college football and track and field and all that. And started training kids. So I was a trainer and whatnot, technically first, kind of doing some private strength conditioning stuff, and chased wifey to Minnesota, where we didn't know anybody. And this was, I guess, before she was wifey. I chased a girl who ended up becoming my wife over to Minnesota. Grew up in Texas, so we moved 1,000 miles away to a place where we didn't know literally anybody, and decided, hey, let's start training people and kind of fire up a gym, if you will, really a training business that eventually became a gym, and so on and so forth. And basically the story there is I was growing things in my training business, I guess at the time, out of what was literally, it was an illegal basement. It was like against the fire code and everything else. We were in this like shitty, awful, family-owned like powerlifting Globo gym, I guess, leave me alone, let me train type gym. And we were in the corner of a basement, and I was in a mastermind at the time, and I was growing things pretty well in that training business. And some of the folks that were running the mastermind, I guess one of the guys was like, I kind of need some marketing help. And if this, prematurely growing douchebag can, grow stuff out of an illegal basement corner, like maybe he can actually help me grow my like not illegal basement, like actually nice facility. And so that was my first marketing client, was one of the guys that was running that mastermind at the time. At this point, I mean, that had to be probably close to 12 years ago, 10 to 12 years ago, somewhere in there. And basically the, GMM, I guess, if you will, kind of grew from there. Initially, there was not some big grand vision for the business. It was like, I'm going to make some side money while I'm doing the gym thing. And it got to the point where, a few years later, I was basically running that mastermind group and doing a lot of business coaching. So I actually started probably as in the mentorship guru agency space. I was more of a coach consultant than I was a marketing guy. I had like 2 to 3 marketing clients or whatever it was, but was coaching lots of gym owners at the time. And long story short, got to the point to where the marketing side of things was growing quite a bit, and there was a kind of a split of that mastermind. And that's a whole deeper story that we can go deeper on later, I'm sure. But in short, basically decided, all right, moving back to Texas, I've got, at this point, it was a couple of gyms because I gotten pretty good at growing my own stuff. And that initial client, the guy that was running that mastermind, or was, I guess, one of the guys running it at the time, introduced me to another bigger client that was big in the licensing space, has moved into franchise, what have you. And he started introducing me to a bunch of folks in their little mastermind group to do some marketing, right? And long story short, that is sort of the beginning of GMM. I started as just an idiot marketing guy doing some marketing for some gyms, and it didn't really become a true business, because the vision initially was just like, I'm going to kind of make some income and, I guess almost like supplement the gyms, if you will, for a while there. And then our son was born, our oldest, in 2018, and he had all sorts of issues, all sorts of complications. He had surgery less than a week out from being born, right? And so he had, we literally, this is just under a year ago. It was August of 2023, and he was born in 2018, had what we hope is his last surgery for sort of the first condition that he had. And he had some developmental stuff going on as well. And basically, as soon as all that stuff started going down with my son, it was like, I am not going to fly across the country and fix any of these gyms that were in different markets at the time. I only had the one in Minnesota, but others had one in Canada and other states. None of them were close by. And I realized like, oh, I'm not going to fly across the country to fix these gyms. And so maybe I should make this marketing like focus on a little bit more. And so the marketing side of what was, you can call it GR marketing if you will, because it was at the time it was just me, sort of grew to, all right, now we've got a small team. This like gym member machine thing is kind of coming together. And it wasn't until really it was our quarterly meeting in March of 2023 when there's this whole sort of backdrop of, man, I'm seeing the buddies that I grew up with in this gym space, because I was a gym owner first. I was a part of these different masterminds and groups. And so I made a bunch of friends in the industry because I've been in the industry 15 years now, probably. And I saw a bunch of my buddies that were coming to me and like, I don't know, you did marketing stuff. Like, I've been screwed over by XYZ company and this agency and that guru and that, mentorship or whatever it is. Like, can you help us? And we had sort of that pull of the market is what I like to call it. And then we kind of found a pocket in this, whatever you want to call it, basically a Facebook group for what was essentially, or what is essentially, kind of disgruntled gym owners and fitness pros. So these folks were basically, it's a review group for, fitness pros, gym owners, personal trainers alike. And basically that group was all about folks going in and trashing the, multitude of bad gurus, right, and agencies and whatnot that are out there in the gym space, because there are a ton of charlatans and idiots and scam artists and whatever else you want to throw out there in the space. And the guy that runs that group started throwing some people our way. And was like, oh, well, this prematurely grading douchebag and the team are kind of taking care of people pretty well. And so our reputation grew in that group to the point where, it's like, man, like we're getting a bunch of referrals from our clients. We're getting people that are coming to us from connections from our industry relationships from ages ago. And we seem to be doing a pretty decent job. And most of these folks that are coming to us from this, mentorship review group, like, there are folks that are just going to kick the shit out of whatever program they do, and for whatever reason, and reasons are probably plural, the folks that were coming to us, like, they weren't successful. We weren't the first call, right? So these folks are going through other agency programs and mentorships and coaches and so on and so forth, and they'd come to us and they'd stick around. And we started tracking our data really religiously about 3 years ago, about about 3 years ago, about April of 2022, I think, 22, maybe it was 2021. And my biggest bragging point of what we do as a company is that our churn has been about 2% for the past 3 years since we started, really tracking it religiously. And so we had these folks that were coming to us disgruntled from other programs. They were the cast-offs, right? The failures, I used to call it in the gym business, the island of fitness misfits. Well, these were the island of fitness business misfits, right? They weren't able to make it work in other programs. And for whatever reason, we were able to connect with those folks and make things work for them to the point where they were getting great results and not leaving and all those fun things. And so a year ago, in that Q2 meeting of 2023, I had to sit down with the team. The team was kind of growing, and we were at this inflection point of, hey, do we want to actually because we can do a couple things. We can either keep kind of treating this like a lifestyle business, if you will, and just sort of grow via referral and go slow and just kind of see where it takes us. Or we can do what I think the market is telling us to do. What the market is just not begging us, but like kind of the road that the market was taking us down. And it's like, really kind of grow this thing and try to become the industry leaders in the, small group boutique gym marketing space. And to a man, woman, they, them, whatever the hell, everyone on the team was like, no, let's fucking go. Like, let's grow this thing. And so I'd say that the birth of Gym Member Machine as a true, hey, let's go try to be the industry leader in this space, that was about a year ago. But the seeds that would become Gym Member Machine Dude, those started like fucking ages ago. That's probably a way too long answer to what might have been a short question, but there you go. Can I share a success story from one of our clients? I can share a success story from lots of clients. We've got some fun ones. So, my favorite stuff, and I think this is, there's a number of ways we can kind of take this, but my favorite stories from clients are the ones that, again, they had the shit kicked out of them from other agencies, mentors, COVID, et cetera. I don't even know if you can say that word yet, but basically, these guys would come to us and gals would come to us and they're struggling. They're in debt. They'd spent $16K, $50K, whatever it was, learning how to run bait and switch challenges. And then they're like, I'm going to go bankrupt. Like, it's either you guys work or I'm shutting down the gym. And we have a number of those stories of folks who have come to us in those like really, really rough spots. And they're, one guy in particular literally put together, he's a fighter, like not figuratively, also figuratively, but literally he is a fighter. And in order to afford to work with us, and to save his gym basically, he put together a fight, he self-promoted the fight, and then he was the headline fight at the thing. He's got a video where he knocked out the guy. It's incredible. And he was literally fighting to work with us, to scrape together the funds to be able to work with us. And he went from he was under 10K a month, whatever it was, 7 or 8K a month, to within a couple months with us, it was like, oh, I'm at 20K. Oh, I'm at 30K. Like, just incredible jumps to his business. And now he's traveling with his wife and he's expanding his location literally right now as we speak. And so those stories are super stinking cool. There's other ones. We've got one of our more recent videos is a guy that just started with us a couple months ago. And he was very successful already in his own right. He was at 90K a month in his personal training business. And, one of the recurring themes that we see from folks that come in and do exceptionally well with us is they come in and they're humble as hell. And you'll have some folks come in, the folks that struggle, and they might be at 10, 15K a month. And they're like, oh, I'm God's gift to the fitness industry. Like, I know how to sell better than everybody and da-da-da. You just put them in front of me and I'm going to close them. I don't need any of your sales training. Like, shut up and get me leads, marketing guy. And, this guy came in 90K already. He's got probably more of a reason to, have a bit of an ego with what he's doing than maybe anyone that we've signed up right at this point. And he came in and dove in. You can see it in his testimonial video. He's like, yeah, I dove into the sales training. Like, the sales training was super helpful. It helped me handle objections. It helped me sell in ways that he feels good about, right? He's not, doing some crazy high pressure, sleazy, scammy offers or scammy tactics when it comes to the sales process. And he went from 90 to 115K a month in his first month or two of working with us. Like, super incredible result. And there's another one that came in at that same time that the fighter came in. This was probably a couple years ago now in May. And he was a really sharp guy. Like, had sold millions of dollars in personal training, working with a franchise that he was a part of for ages, and just hadn't been able to put together in his own gym. And, came in, and the guy didn't miss a freaking sales coaching call. We do 5 coaching calls a week right now for all of our members that members can get on. I don't think he missed a coaching call for his first 3 or 4 months of being a client of ours, and went from, I don't know if it was 12, 15K a month, whatever it was, to adding 20K recurring, 20K in new recurring revenue in the first couple months of working with us. So boom, here's 250 grand a year to your business that you didn't have before. One of his midpoint testimonials now was that he was doing 50K a month and basically not showing up to his gym at all. He had that gym completely delegated. We helped him with the systems and everything else. And so he was at 50K a month. Well, now he's got another location, and we're basically helping him in our higher level mastermind group to build Your Gympire, shameless plug mastermind group. We are helping him install leadership in his facility so that he can step away even further. So now he's got multiple locations. He just opened his second one. It was early this year, early 2024. Both locations are doing well. And now he's literally installing a CEO so that he can completely remove himself from the business. Super cool stories. Love all those. We got lots more, but I love the ones where people come in and they were struggling. They were not living great lives, right? They were kind of hand to mouth, paycheck to paycheck. A lot of times not paying themselves, or living off a spouse's income, or living with their parents, or whatever they have to do to kind of make it work. And they come in, and to their credit, right, they do the fucking work, because we might be responsible for a very tiny percentage of their success, but it's just we were able to connect the dots and put things together and find that message, market, and model fit for them that they were able to take off and run and kind of put in the end zone. So those are the most fun things for me when we see those guys like Cam. He's the one that is just opened his second location, installing leadership in his facilities now. He's getting married, and like is going to be able to provide an amazing life for his wife and future kids. And those are the things that are like, like, yeah, they're annoying, situations, right, in any business. But you get a few of those, and all of a sudden it's like, let's go get another one. Let's go help somebody else like completely change the trajectory of their business and their life. And that's what fires us up. That's why we go to work every day. So what sets GMM apart from other gym marketing agencies? That's a good question. It's another loaded one. You guys are going to be able to tell I like to talk. So there's a number of things I think really set us apart. One of them is that, I've been in the industry for ages and have coached hundreds and hundreds of gym owners at this point in various capacities, whether it's one-on-one or in mastermind groups or as a part of this company, whatever it is. And so we kind of know what we're talking about. Like, this is not some mama's basement operation where we took an agency course and we're slapping up the same ads that every other idiot in the industry is doing. Oh, get 152 clients in 34 seconds with no work. Like, we've been here, done that, been there, done that. We got the t-shirt, like all that fun stuff. And so we've seen, I don't want to say we've seen it all in the industry, but we've seen a lot in the industry. And so you've got this combination of like really, really deep knowledge of the industry that we're trying to play in. We don't try to work with other folk, like with other businesses. Like if you're acupuncture, chiro, real estate, whatever, like we love you and we're rooting for you, but like we can't help you, right? We work with training gyms and that is all we do all day, every day. And so we've got this really, really deep knowledge of our niche and our model and the things that we do for folks. So you've got that portion. And then I might need to fix the battery here. But you've got that portion of things. And then from an ads perspective, like, dude, our media buying team is fucking incredible. So I was pretty good as a marketing guy starting off, and I had to cut my teeth in that big like licensing franchising guy where he ended up moving into franchising later. We had to go up against everybody because he was in the midst of setting up his business for franchising and try to build this huge franchise, right? He wanted to be and I think still wants to be the Orange Theory and then beyond Orange Theory for small group personal training. And I was his prematurely graying douchebag marketing guy, and I was just a guy at the time. And so he would bring in people to try to beat me. And, these people would come in and offer to work for free. Like if you name an agency in the gym space, we probably had to go against them. If you name a marketing guy, if you will, in the gym industry, we probably had to go against them. And so we cut our teeth against some of the big players in the space very early on. I mean, this was, probably between 2016 and 2020 where we had to go up against just fucking everybody. And so I'm pretty good. Because at the time it was just me. And now our media buying team, our ads team, if you will, is made up of 3 additional individuals that all make me look like a fucking middle schooler trying to guard LeBron. And they're just absolutely incredible. We've got a PhD data nerd. How do you get a PhD data nerd to do ads for your gym owner friends? Well, you marry well. So my wife is a PhD in psychology, and so she's been doing ads. We hired her over when we saw all the stuff was going down with our son. And it's like, I kind of need some more flexibility. Maybe we try to do this, work together thing again, because we tried it once years ago and it didn't work out. And we did it probably 5-6 years ago at this point, and it's just been stinking incredible. So you've got this like genius that is my wife, literally a doctor in psychology, that is running these ads for gyms. We've got other folks that came over from big marketing agencies in the gym space that weren't happy with the way that they were treating their clients. And that's kind of a recurring theme with a lot of the top level folks on our team. They were at bigger companies in the space, if you will, weren't happy with the way they were treating customers, decided to come over to us because the client says, oh, you might, you're trying to leave them. We're working with these folks and they seem to really resonate with the way that you were kind of trying to service us and things like that. Like maybe you should check them out, see if they're hiring. And so we've hired probably before we were ready for a lot of these folks that are super high level, ton of experience in the industry. And I think that's one of the things that has, kind of taken us to another level where, you picture the lowly gym owner, and I throw myself in there, right? Because I was the lowly gym owner who's running ads on one market. They're doing it part-time because they've got, 18 million other jobs that they're doing. Well, who's going to be able to do the job better? The gym owner who's trying to do their ads in an hour or a couple hours a week or a couple hours a month in a lot of cases, or the person that is, I've looked at nothing but gym ads every working hour of the past 5 years. I work with other people. I meet with other folks that have been doing nothing but gym ads for the past 5-6 years in hundreds of locations. And we meet every single week, multiple times, to see, all right, what's working, what's not, what are some new ideas we can throw at the market, so on and so forth. And dude, it's just hard to beat that. If you have this deep industry knowledge plus a team that's been doing nothing but like this deep industry knowledge on this one specific thing, that's really hard to beat. And that's not even mentioning like websites, because websites kind of follows, we've got that as a part of what we do at GMM. And it's the same story there, where we had a guy at probably the biggest company in the space in terms of websites for gyms, and didn't like the way they were treating their customers, gets connected to us. Well, he's taken over our website product now for the last year, probably right at a year, a little over a year. I think he just had his 1 year anniversary with us, and the websites product is taking off. Why? We've got all this deep industry experience. You've got people that have been doing nothing but that thing for years now, and then they come over to a place that's like, I don't necessarily care what it costs, right? Like, I want us to be the absolute best thing for whatever that thing is in the gym industry, and we're going to find a way to do it. And, the team's just been incredible. And you've got this all-encompassing, like, deep industry knowledge on the overall, like, business strategy. You've got deep industry knowledge on each of the little individual pieces that we help clients with, whether it's on the ad side or the website side. And I think, that amongst other things, you talk about responsiveness. So that's one of the compliments that we get most, is how responsive our team is. And so if you can get those, like the deep industry knowledge combined with this psycho service mindset, like, we're going to serve the hell out of you, right? Like, if we've got to drag you kicking and screaming to whatever your goals are, like, we're going to fucking find a way to drag you there. That makes for a pretty good combination, I think, for a pretty good agency to help gym owners grow.